2022, the year of the Linux desktop. Maybe. That's what we're going to look to find out this week. Yes, I am transitioning from my Windows desktop machine to a Linux desktop for an entire week to see if it can fulfill all of my needs, from gaming to web browsing to productivity. And honestly, I have pretty low expectations. I mean, I use Windows, I have a MacBook, so I use Mac OS, and basically everything in my home lab runs Linux already. So I'm no stranger to the three major operating systems, but I've never actually tried to switch to Linux full-time. And I know from seeing other creators try this and talking to others in the community that there are some struggles. So we'll see if my workflow causes as much struggles as the next person along this week-long journey. So yeah, this is actually day one. I've gone ahead and already installed Linux on one of my computers. I'm running a AMD 3600 with an RX 6700 XT, and I was debating on which distro to go with, and I know whatever I choose, you guys are going to complain about it. So let me know down in the comments that I've chosen the wrong one before I've even told you. So yeah, go ahead and do that. But yeah, I went with Ubuntu 22.04, and I initially tried Mint with Cinnamon, and it was okay. I don't know. I'm just more familiar with Ubuntu, so that's what I went with. And yeah, I installed it. Pretty simple, basic stuff. Day one, all I'm doing is essentially getting software set up and kind of getting a feel for it and see how it goes. But let me know down in the comments how you think this is going to go on a scale of 7 to 12. Let me know. This video is sponsored by Ekster in their line of high quality RFID blocking slim wallets and accessories. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I've used the same Amazon wallet for the past couple of years, and while it's fine, these are on a completely different level. These wallets from Ekster are extremely high quality, and while I'm still a broke boy, at least I can look cool now. Their lineup includes a few different options from leather, aluminum, and carbon fiber. My personal favorite though is the Senate in steel blue. It's slim, wrapped in leather, and like all of the other options, has this really cool card ejection mechanism that not only lets you retrieve your cards faster, but is 100% gonna be my new work fidget device. Check out Ekster's line of wallets along with their solar-powered Bluetooth tracking card and other accessories by heading over to shop.ekster.com/RaidOwl and use discount code RaidOwl for up to 35% off your next order. Brett, why aren't you wearing a shirt? Good question. Basically because I have my camera set up right here for the entire week. In the event that I think of something while using my Linux desktop, and I want to just press record and start talking to you guys. So the plan for day two is to essentially get all my network shares set up, install some Steam games, try to get League of Legends running, because basically League of Legends is the only real game I play right now. I want to make sure that OBS is working well on here to do all my screen recordings, and I want to start getting my development environment set up with VS Code. So nothing too crazy here. Again, this is all about me using Linux for an entire week as I would my regular computer. So I'm not going to do anything too crazy. I'm going to essentially do what I would normally do during the week, and this is what I would do. So see how it goes. All right, one thing I kind of want to point out is yesterday I spent a lot of time trying to get the AMD drivers working here, and it looks like, you know, I have the most up-to-date driver for my 6700 XT, but there's a weird visual glitch. Yeah, that's not supposed to happen like that. And one thing is that in OBS, if I try to do any hardware transcoding, yeah, it won't let me. I can only do software. I guess I can't really show you while I'm recording, but I did get my network shares mounted. If we take a look at my fstab, you'll see that I have my two network shares mounted here. And if we check out what is in there, boom, here's all my stuff. So cool, that's auto mounted. we got that available. I'm actually recording directly to it over the network right now. Hopefully that worked. Oh no, we're still recording. I can't stop the recording. It won't let me stop the recording. Oh no. Okay, honestly, that was super easy. We got VS Code installed. It took like 30 seconds. I probably should have just recorded it, but I didn't. But yeah, here's one of my Git repos that I've pulled down. I can mess with that, push it back if I want to. Not going to do any of that right now. What I do want to do is open up DaVinci Resolve, pull in the recording that I just recorded, and see how it looks. I have a very limited experience with DaVinci Resolve, so bear with me here. So all my recordings go here. Honestly, I could just do that. I can go into recordings, and we have no video. We only have audio. Oh God, why? Oh, now it's frozen. Oh boy, oh boy. This ain't looking good, boys. All right, be right back. Okay, yeah, I don't know what's going on. Even my already rendered, just regular old H.264 final videos aren't even playing, so I don't know, man. I can't even freaking minimize this either. I think we're going to switch to Kdenlive. I've had much more success with Kdenlive on Linux than DaVinci. So I failed. It only took 2 days to fail something, but you know what they say, Rome wasn't a failure in 2 days. All right, here's some exhilarating content of me installing Kdenlive. Look at it. So if it installed correctly, theoretically, be able to go over here. Boom, Kdenlive. Let's open it up, see if we can get some better luck with Kdenlive. Oh, okay. What are we missing? Media info. Maybe that's just a package we need. Download and install media info from here. Okay. Let's try again. Okay, we're good, we're good. Ooh, we can minimize, even better than DaVinci already. It looks like we actually have some stuff, and I assume this plays back. 6700 XT. Yeah, weird visual glitch.
Oh, we're good. We're good.
That's not success. Dude, I don't freaking know, man. Like, I dragged the clip I just recorded in here, and it can play.
Because I have my camera set up right
but
here.
It's only on the left channel, and in Premiere I can just check one box and I can move the left channel to duplicate on the right channel. I don't see that option here. Also, I'm noticing I can't even add effects. It's just a white blank window. I can't really do anything else to modify the video because yeah, all this is completely whited out. Oh my gosh. I don't know if this is a GPU driver issue or something else, but this is extremely frustrating. And one of the reasons why you can see that people are so reluctant to move to a Linux desktop. You can shit on Mac OS and Windows all you want, but at least when I download something, 99% of the time, it just works. All right, it's been like 4 hours. I got a shirt now. All I've done is swap out the AMD card for an NVIDIA 2070 Super, I think. It's performing a lot better. I got rid of the version of Kdenlive that I was running and installed the version that was on the Snap package installation manager, and that works a lot better. So yeah, problem was the latest version of Kdenlive didn't like anything because it didn't work with the NVIDIA card either. So I downgraded essentially, and Ubuntu just straight up didn't like my 6700 XT. And in the process, I found out that my 3060 is just straight up dead. So yeah, I spent like 4 hours and accomplished relatively nothing. I don't even know if I'm gonna get to the games tonight because I'm so annoyed at this point. But you know what? I guess that's what switching to Linux is like. Oh my God, this is gonna be a long week. I can feel it. Okay, yeah, it's day 3. I got pretty fed up yesterday and just called it quits. Total, I've probably spent about like 8 hours in the last 2 days just trying to set up basic stuff. I think now I'm at a point using Kdenlive for the editing. It seems to be working fine, but that's kind of a major problem. None of the 3 major video editing softwares are available on Linux. I mean, DaVinci, you can install it, but it didn't seem to work at all. And I think I had this experience before. Premiere isn't available, and obviously Final Cut isn't available. I know that's not a huge deal for a lot of you out there who have never touched a video editing software, but this is my experience. This is my transition for my regular everyday using Windows to Linux. So this may not affect you, this may not affect your grandma, but I can only speak on my experience, and it has been frustrating from a productivity standpoint. But today we are going to try the game. I know infamously that there can be some frustrations in gaming, but like I said, I'm not an avid gamer. So as long as it can do a couple of games that I play, then we should be good. Let's find out. Does this beanie look stupid? I don't know. It's really comfy. Look at this, dude. It's so soft and cozy. Okay, yeah, like I mentioned, the only game I really play consistently anymore is League of Legends. I know, make fun of me down in the comments all you want, but it is what it is. So that's what we are going to get installed. And I know from previous experience that the best way of getting League installed on Linux is through Letras. So that is what we're going to use. Yeah, so one thing that was weird is that OBS wouldn't open at all if I had scaling set to 200%, which is why my 4K monitor has everything super tiny. That's because I couldn't record anything at OBS. This is really how we have to do it. It's all from a script. One could not find a one for .NET automatically. Yeah. Why can't you guys see my cursor on the recording? Oh no, don't tell me this recording is absolute butt cheeks. Okay, I tweaked setting in OBS, so I changed it to XSHM screen capture instead of Pipewire, and it is recording much better. Let's see how League performs on here. We're running at 4K, medium settings, perfectly fine. 240 FPS cap, no vertical sync. Recording look. It looks like, yeah, recording looks like it's doing pretty well. All right, yeah, feels good. I wouldn't be able to tell you that I'm running this in Linux, to be honest. Okay, that's enough of this. It works. Hello. Yep, it's day 4. Clearly, I'm not doing a good job at this idea I had where I was going to learn or accomplish something every single day, and I would have trouble with it, then work through it and show you guys at the end of the day and everything would be great. Apparently that is not happening. So today I wanted to come in, accomplish a bunch of stuff, really get motivated to sit down and show you guys working through some issues and getting some stuff done. Well, what happens when I come in and turn on the computer? My main monitor isn't detected. That's just, it was working last night. I have no idea what happened. Nothing changed. It's already hard enough to get stuff done, right? And it's hard enough to get motivated to get stuff done. And when your tools that you use to get things done are also hindering your ability to accomplish those things, that's when things get tricky. And you can hate Windows all you want. You can hate Mac OS all you want, but I could count on one hand the amount of times where my Windows machine or my MacBook have actually gotten in the way of me accomplishing something or being productive. I can count on my hands and toes how many times in the last 3 days I've had to work through tedious little issues just to get to a point to where I can be productive. Again, this is just my experience. You could be a daily driver on Linux and completely love it. And if you do, that's freaking awesome. But this is my experience. And it's been miserable. Hopefully these next 3 days can be a little better. I'm gonna try to figure out what the hell's going on here. Maybe there was some random issue with the drivers or something, but I don't know. I'll be back with an update. All right, boys, we back in it. So the problem apparently was that I was using the default suggested open kernel driver, and for some reason it just didn't like that today. I switched to the proprietary NVIDIA one, and it seems to like that much more. One thing I'm also noticing in terms of my microphone is that it keeps defaulting to my USB audio interface, which isn't what I want. So this is the mic I'm using right now, and this is what I wish it would be, or set to default. But it keeps doing this audio adapter. And that's not what I want. No matter how many times I change it, when I restart my computer, it stays with this, or it stays with the other one. But yeah, let's dive into some actual games. So if you're not aware, a lot of games aren't natively supported on Linux. There are some, like Portal, which I did install, Portal 2, so we're going to try that out. But also, Steam has a compatibility layer called Proton. So if you go down here into Steam Play and select Enable Steam Play for all other titles. So if you enable this, you can run other titles with whatever version of Proton you want. I have let it go with Proton Experimental. Now we can download and install whatever game we want. We can try something hardcore like The Witcher, so let's give that a shot. Sounds good. Yep, I agree. Why not? Yeah, we'll let this install. I'm going to boot up Portal. It's native. It runs natively on Linux, so this should run perfectly fine. Let's test that out. So immediately off the bat, it looks good. It feels there are some like micro stutters every once in a while. I mean, it feels fine. It's definitely playable. What am I doing? Okay, we are running full 4K. So we have some pretty hardcore settings on here. Let's turn the anti-aliasing down. And no, we don't want vertical sync. And apply. Ooh, oh God. Okay, this actually feels worse. What is going on? Okay, you can see we have a high frame rate, but this looks terrible. Is vertical sync really doing it for us? Okay, we'll just enable it. Okay, this feels so much better. I guess we'll just leave vertical sync on. In Portal, I'm not so worried about vertical sync. I mean, it's going to cause a little bit of input lag, but honestly, I don't feel it. Yeah, Portal with those settings, perfectly fine. No issues. But again, this is a natively supported title through Steam. Now let's try The Witcher, which is much harder to run and isn't natively supported. We'll be using the Proton compatibility layer, so let's give that a shot. Okay, little detour. This video is a mess. Anyway, I just got a PO box, so now like I don't have to give out my real address for people to send me stuff, and I can just put it out there if any of you guys want to send me some cool stuff. So what I want to do is edit my links page to have that information, which is hosted on my Docker container. Shout out to TechnoTim on the little link Docker setup. That's what we're using. So what I'm going to do is go into my stacks, into my little link one. Actually, so I updated the custom template on that. Kind of annoying. I have to edit it in 2 places, but we updated this part. Let's go into our stacks. I'm gonna go to editor, update this. I'm hoping it can read line breaks with HTML in this bio. We're gonna find out. Nope. HTML line breaks do not work, unfortunately. I took TechnoTim's code and made one little modification where the bio is updated, and I changed it to use this dangerously set inner HTML to where I can directly inject my own HTML into that section. Instead of just text, we've injected a paragraph, and then we have line breaks with my PO box in there. So now we get this. It's essentially the same thing, but now we can inject line breaks and, you know, stuff like that. So yeah, a nice little hour or so detour. Now, finally, I think The Witcher is done. So let's try it out. Yes, the new updated Witcher 3 looks excellent. Okay, we're in. I tried reopening it, and instead of using DirectX 12, I used DirectX 11, and it loaded right up. So I guess we're sticking with DirectX 11 here. Now, in terms of settings, 4K, 60 FPS max, we'll bump that up to 120. I don't think we're gonna hit that. Try VSync off. It didn't work too well in Portal, but anti-aliasing, we'll go FXA, sharpening off. Actually, let's just go down to like medium. 4K medium, sounds good. Airworks off, yeah, okay. How y'all think this is gonna run? I'm guessing not very good. 4K medium with this hardware on Linux through Proton. Yeah, oof. Yeah, oh my God. That is not a recording glitch. I'm looking at the recording, and that is essentially what I am seeing here. Dear God. Let's try to bump it down to 1080p. Okay, let's see if that changes anything. Feels a little better. We're still getting micro stuttering. Seems to be a common theme. Oh, no. Yeah, I mean, playable-ish. It says it's getting over 100 FPS, but it definitely doesn't feel that way. Let's go into graphics and turn on VSync. I can feel the lag. I'm still getting that micro stuttering. I mean, it's better, but you can see definitely when I'm turning, it's jittery. Yeah, I don't know what else, honestly, what other settings I could change here. I'm gonna throw in the towel here and say, you know, it is playable if you have a low tolerance for graphical fidelity and smoothness. Then yeah, I guess you could play it, but I certainly couldn't handle that. It's day 6, and you're thinking, what happened to day 5? Well, day 5 was essentially the weekend, and it was 3 days, but we're gonna roll that into 1 because I didn't really do anything too exciting. I mean, it was the weekend, so I didn't do too much work. I just spent my time on the computer, either playing League of Legends or browsing the internet, and Linux performed pretty well for that. I mean, the requirements are pretty low. That's a low bar, but it did it fine. Most things are web-based today anyway, so as long as you can run a web browser, then you should be good. And I was. Nothing too exciting happened, so I didn't film any of it. So yeah, day 5 was chill. Linux performed pretty well. And now we're on day 6. And for day 6, I actually want to create a thumbnail for this video. And like I said before, I don't have the Adobe suite. So normally I would do it in Photoshop, which I'm really comfortable with, but we don't have that. So we are using GIMP. I've used that one other time in my life, and we're gonna try to use it today. So that's the plan. I'm gonna do some screen recording, and we'll see how this thumbnail comes out with me using this software for the second time in my life. Okay, so I'm in GIMP here, and yeah, this is not the best. I understand it's a free software, so I'm not gonna complain too much because obviously it's free. It's pretty powerful for free software, but compared to Photoshop, I am so not having a good time. So basically, we'll just kill everything. I have a basic wallpaper that I blurred out a little bit. I added the layer, actually I added the Linux Penguin. Check it out, blurred it a little bit, and added me. 2 different layers of me, one behind, and then my arms in front. So it looks like I am gently caressing him. The selection tools are so inferior to Photoshop. You have to manually select everything. And I know that sounds pretty normal, but in Photoshop, at least you can select by color and then mask it out that way. And it even has smart selection that will select the subject for you, which is usually pretty good and saves probably hours of time, but this doesn't have that. It has a color selection thing, but it didn't really work. So yeah, and now I am trying to add text. And when I go to modify it, apparently there's just no drop down for selecting a font, unless I'm dumb. You can like start typing and it gives you options, but there's no drop down for font. So we're just going to play around with this and see if I can get something to look decent. Okay, this is just going to have to be it. I was going to add some stroke to this to kind of make it pop a little bit, but apparently that's not a thing in GIMP. You can't just add stroke to text. Oh look, here's all the fonts. I added some curves to my layers to adjust the saturation and contrast, but there's no, like in Photoshop, you can kind of click on them and adjust them. I don't see them here. I guess they're just baked in and I have to live with it. Obviously, I've been using this for like an hour or 2, so clearly I'm not an expert, but the basic creature comforts that I'm used to in Photoshop just don't exist here. So this is what it's going to be. I think I'm done for today. The plan is I might do it tonight, I might do it tomorrow, but the plan is tomorrow, day 7, I want to end this week-long challenge with a live stream, and I will be live streaming from this Linux PC. So that is the game plan. We'll see how it goes. Welcome to the final stream of 2022. Anyone who's watching the VOD or watching now wondering why this stream looks different than my usual ones, that is because we are on day 7 of me using only Linux for a week as my main desktop. And so I am streaming on the final day from my Linux machine. This is on Ubuntu 22.4. Yeah, that's why it's not as fancy as my usual streams. But hey, man, you know what? We got a decent camera. It looks like it's coming in fine. We got this $20 Amazon mic that appears to be doing fine. And yeah, we're just gonna do it. Just gonna do it to it. All right, there it is. Day 7 complete, live stream complete. Overall, I think the stream went well. OBS handled it well on Linux, no problems there. The only issue was that my camera ran out of battery, and clearly that's an issue with Linux. If I was running Windows, obviously my battery wouldn't have run out. Duh. But yeah, let's talk about my overall experience for the entire week. So I will say that it lived up to my expectations. But on the negative side, my expectations were really low, and let's walk through it. So for me, it came down to how well can it handle my productivity? And a lot of my stuff is done in Adobe. So going into this, I knew that that would be a struggle because none of the Adobe suite is supported on Linux. So for video editing, I edited the entire video using Kdenlive, and I don't want to shit on Kdenlive at all. I don't want this to be a constant negative barrage towards Linux and these softwares, because these are open source softwares. People put a lot of effort into a lot of these softwares that are supported on Linux, and they do a fantastic job. And just because they don't perform as well or have all the features of a multi-billion-dollar company, I'm not going to take that away from them. But as someone who is so used to the Adobe suite, transitioning to that was extremely tough, especially in just a week time frame. So I know a lot of people say that DaVinci Resolve works in Linux. I tried, and yeah, it was just extremely buggy and not working very well. And that was kind of a main theme. Like, certain softwares are supported and work, but do require a lot of tweaking. And if that's something that you don't mind doing, then go ahead, switch to Linux, see how it goes for you. But for me, as someone who uses their main PC for lots of productivity work and some gaming, it just didn't transition very well for me. And I know I'm going to get a lot of slack, and I know people are going to be angry in the comments about why didn't I do this or why didn't I do that, but this wasn't a how does Linux fare against Windows and Mac OS, because that is an extremely deep rabbit hole you can go down, and this video isn't about that. That wasn't the scope of this. This was how does my workflow and how I use my computer transition to a Linux environment? And the short answer is not very well. So if your workflow is different from mine, you want to give Linux a spin, go ahead, do it. I am not faulting anybody for using Linux full time. Trust me. Will I try to use Linux again in the future? Absolutely. But for right now, right when this video cuts off, I am switching back to Windows so I can get back into that Adobe suite. Yeah, overall, about what I expected. So if you like this video, be sure to drop a like below. If you like content like this, please consider subscribing. I want to give a huge shout out to all my Patreons and YouTube members. You guys are my Adobe suite. But that is it. If you're still around to the bitter end, I appreciate it so much. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.